Welcome back to the Sequetron test drive part 4. We'll look at the remaining commands in Novice mode and then we'll finally be ready to take off the L plates. We'll use our old friend sequence 1 as a test pattern and start it playing using the same 4 steps we covered in part 2. Step 1, press command. Step 2, select the sequence. Step 3, press the command. And there's no step 4. So we'll now look at the 4 steps for the tempo command. I'll just turn that down a bit. So step 1, press command. Now step 2 is not required for the tempo as it affects all sequences regardless. So go straight to the command, which is over here, and press it. And notice all sequences have been selected automatically to remind us which ones will be affected if we proceed. Don't forget, you can always cancel by pressing the escape key. The tempo command needs further data, the beats per minute value. So we're now in step 4 and the keyboard has flipped to digit value mode so we can enter that value. Now the basic play and stop commands didn't need any data, so the keyboard went straight to live mode at this point. Now the input line on the status window shows how far you are in the command. Here it's showing that 3 digits NNN are required, plus some other options which we'll cover later. So for now we'll enter the 3 digits for the required beats per minute. Let's put in 200. So press 2 and you'll notice the digits appear in the input line on the status window as we enter them. 0, 0. And that's it. The keyboard's back in live mode and the tempo ramped up to 200. The ramp or slew rate can be adjusted via another command. And let's go back to 120. Command, tempo, 1. Now say I press 3 by mistake. All we do is cancel the command and start again. And we're done. Now you may have noticed the plus and minus functions in the digit value mode, so let's try one of those. Command, tempo, and this is the minus function and this is the plus function. So let's try minus, and you'll notice the tempo drops back by 5 beats per minute. This is a configurable value. So this is an alternative to entering absolute numbers and is available to other commands we'll look at later. There's also a tap tempo option which we can use when we turn off Novice mode. Okay, now for the pitch command. We need to increase the virtual keyboard size for this. You'll see why later. So we'll just make it 3 octaves for now. So step 1, press command. Let's just turn the volume down. Now as we play and stop, this one allows you to select individual sequences for the operation. But this time, if you don't select any, it operates on all sequences. As a general rule, each command tries to do the sensible thing if you don't select any sequences. And it takes into account the impact on your live playing. For example, the stop command doesn't select all sequences by default, as this could easily destroy your carefully crafted syncopation. We'll look at this later when we cover the mute command. So, press pitch. Again, all sequences have been selected for you as a reminder of the command's scope. Now we're in step 4, as we need to supply a pitch offset value. So the keyboard has flipped to pitch offset mode, where the keys now function as semitone offsets relative to the origin key. And now you can see why we expanded the keyboard. So to raise the pitch by 5 semitones, just press the +5 key. I'll just turn the volume up first. And press the key now. The selected sequences will change pitch at the end of their respective cycles, and the offsets are shown in the pitch column here. If you see something flashing, As before, it means pending end of cycle. Now the offsets are always relative to their original recorded pitch. So if we press the +7 key, the pitch only rises another 2 semitones. Command, pitch, +7. It's not additive, although we can achieve this effect using the transpose function, again when we turn off novice mode. So to get back to the original pitch, we press the origin key. Command, pitch, origin. Now there's an interesting variation on this command which stops the keyboard returning to live mode automatically. It locks it in pitch offset mode until you press escape. And this means that all key presses are offsets. So you can effectively play a sequence or sequences just like a monophonic sampler. Okay, finally the mute command. You must be bored with the metronome, so we'll get rid of that. And we'll load some test patterns. So click File, Load Built-in Patterns, and there's a couple of very simple patterns which will fill up as many sequences as you've got. There's an ascending pattern and a descending pattern. So we'll use the first one. Right, we'll start all the sequences running just so you can hear them. And I can either select all the sequences one at a time, or there's a quicker way by using the all but function. The all but function selects all sequences but those already selected. So for example, if I had 1 and 4 selected and click all but, it switches it to 2 and 3. So it inverts the current selection. So this means if nothing is selected, it selects them all. Let's click play. And we'll stop them all. Command, all but, stop. The play command starts the selected sequences at the instant you press the play key. For example, we'll start sequence 1. And sequence 2, we'll try and time it right and start it a beat later. And similarly, sequence 3. Now the start times are quantized to prevent it sounding too ragged. We can change the quantized value when we turn off novice mode. The default setting is 1/8 notes. Now say we wanted to drop out some of these sequences temporarily and we just stop them, we would then have to concentrate on restarting them at exactly the right point in time, otherwise it wouldn't sound the same. So a better way is to use the mute command. Let's mute sequences 2 and 3. Command, sequence 2, sequence 3, mute. You can see they're still running, but the blobs have changed colour and the state column has changed to M for mute. Now when we change them back to play, they'll still be in sync. Okay, we'll stop those. Okay, we've seen all the commands for novice mode, so it's time to take off the L plates. And this is a major change, so cannot be done in run mode. So click the stop button. And we're back on the configuration screen, and now we can click Config, Novice Mode. And you'll see a confirmation prompt reminding you that any changes you made up to now will need repeating and resaving. So we'll acknowledge this. And now we've switched, there's a lot more going on the screen. You can see all the usual MIDI attributes for each sequence, the channel number, program or patch change numbers, and the velocity, which is similar but not the same as volume. So if you've been following along, don't forget to repeat any configuration changes, such as allocating the ports, and then resave by clicking Config, Save, all to default. As we saw with the tempo value, most of the settings here have a counterpart command which we can use on the fly from the music keyboard. You can use either method, but either way, all settings will be preserved when you save the configuration. The factory settings disable program change messages for safety. So if you want to use the runtime command called prog, you need to set an initial value here before running. So just set any value that isn't a dash. But we'll leave those disabled for now. Right, let's click run and see what happens. So nothing's changed in live mode. All the keys should still play as before. But now the command key reveals a different story. And it's in fact several octaves worth. I think there's some more up here. And there are still more commands which haven't been mapped yet. So next time we'll look at how to map commands onto the keyboard, and then we'll start exploring them. So thanks for watching, and see you in part 5.